Maybe.
What's up, everybody? Welcome to Mixtapes. I'm your host, Eric Stanglin, and right next to me is my co-host, Mr. Mark Moots. Moots, what's going on this evening, my friend?
Another evening. Well, this evening, pretty excited. We're going to go back a bit in time, but not as far back as we have gone. Just a little over 20 years, really. We're going to go back to the glorious time of the early aughts, and we're going to talk about some metalcore.
That's right. The new wave of American heavy metal, right?
Yes, sir. As it was lovingly dubbed by the press, who I don't know, it's kind of a stupid name, but there was a movement in music happening at that point.
There was,
and I was lucky enough to kind of be a peripheral part of it, but at least in the press, I got magazines. I can show you. We were a very big deal. The press was great.
I was showing my buddy today Incubus and saying how we played with them at the Roxy before they were signed. And I was trying to say, like, hey, man, they sounded kind of like Faith No More meets the Chili Peppers.
Mm-hmm.
So then you go on the old little YouTube machine, and as far back as I can go was 96. And I showed him, he's like, oh, wow. He's like, yeah, that was a perfect description of what they sounded like. And I said,
for sure.
And then they kind of found their own way in sound. But yeah, you were right in smack dab in the middle of that with December.
We were. Yep. And actually, this gentleman we ran into, crossed paths, I would say, a few times. And I was always a fan of his band, Shadows Fall. And today we're just going to kind of probably walk down a little bit of memory lane and then see what's going on with Mr. Brian Fair.
Yes, I can't wait. And I'll tell you right now, folks, before we do all that great stuff, get all the housekeeping out of the way. Thank you so much for listening to the new episodes. You guys are loving the Dave Hillis episode. We appreciate you guys, spreading love on that one. There's a lot of great stuff that we're doing. We're really excited. We've got some more guests in the pipeline. And once I hit that record button, we can let you know who they are, because you never know what's going to happen. But man, we're excited, and thank you guys for making that possible, because without you guys and without the numbers, it's not the same. So we appreciate that very much. Thank you. Subscribe if it's the first time you've been listening, first time you fell into our laps. Make sure you subscribe, all that good stuff. We got a YouTube, Patreon, Linktree, you name it, you can find us. And you want to watch us two ugly dudes talk on YouTube, you can. You know what I mean?
You sure can.
Yeah, but I'm sure you want to just see our guest, Brian Fair, today. So
be far more exciting.
Way more exciting. So without further ado, let's bring in our guest.
Ladies and gentlemen, Mr. Brian Fair. How are you, sir?
I'm doing great. How are you?
Dude, so good. So good.
Excellent.
I've been excited about this.
Awesome, man. Awesome, man. Well, it's good. It's good to see you again, even if it's through the phones here. But
yeah, I mean, it's a start.
Yeah.
Cool. So we do have a stock question that we like to fire out as the first one, just to kind of get the juices flowing, if you will. So Eric, do that one, please.
Yeah, absolutely. So this is a question I love asking, because it kind of sets a tone for everything. Do you remember like your first music memory that got you interested in wanting to be a musician, whether it was like playing guitar or singing? Like, do you remember that memory?
There's the early ones are just, stumbling into music I liked. But when I first knew I wanted to be a musician, this memory will never leave me. It's burned into my psyche. The first concert that I went to that wasn't my parents taking me or something like that was the Slippery and Wet tour with Cinderella on the Night Songs tour opening.
Saw that tour.
I was a huge Cinderella fan. And I walked in, and my friend's uncle who took us, because we were too young to go on our own, got us like 10th row or something on the floor, Worcester Centrum, and they opened with Night Songs. And Tom Kiefer is just standing there with the poodle hair, larger than life, and they hit that riff, and his voice comes in, and I was just like, I want to do that. I don't know how I'll get there, but I want to do that.
See,
amazing.
Dude, that's awesome. And you know what? It's better that you saw that than the Pat's hot dog commercial that they did before that.
which I have seen, which is fucking amazing.
Amazing,
but,
dude.
Yes. What's crazy is, obviously Cinderella that was their glammiest time visually. But
Yes.
that record, man, dude, that record's got riffs, bro, like all over the place. And
Dude,
they sounded so good. It was so huge. And I was just like, I can't believe this is real, like there it is. And I want to get on the other side of this barricade.
That's dude, we talk about that album a lot. Like it comes up in our conversations so much.
As it should. It is a riff just nonstop. Dude, it's crazy.
Night Songs is like heavy.
It's a doom metal song, man. The song itself is so. My band that I play with out here in St. Louis, Hell Night, we covered it because we were called Hell Night, so we put out a EP called Hell Night Songs, and we opened with that, but like tuned to like Z and slowed down even more.
Oh, that's awesome.
I just almost went black metal vocally on it with tons of delay and shit. So yeah, because we were just like, this is the heaviest song ever, and I'm like, I've been waiting to cover this since I was 11 years old. So here we are, and we're doing it. We only played it live once, and to watch we're pretty fast normally. So to watch all these people just confused for the next, as we dirge through Night Songs for like 8 minutes, like to open a set was so awesome.
That sounds incredible.
Yeah. I'll send you a link to it after.
Oh God,
I was immediately on my phone going, Hell Night. Hell Night.
Yeah, totally, man. And we even named the EP Hell Night Songs because we're like, yeah, this is just has to happen.
That's awesome. Cool. I love everything about that. I saw them open for David Lee Roth on the Night Songs album.
Yeah.
Eat 'Em and Smiled.
Eat 'Em and Smiled tour. Yeah.
Like Cinderella came out and it was like, holy shit.
Dude.
I mean, Roth was great.
Oh, I'm not gonna lie, Bon Jovi crushed it after that. And when they first came out, so many girls rushed the stage that I got to move from my 10th row to like 3rd row. So I was stoked, watching fly over the crowd during Living on a Prayer with the,
that's awesome.
strapped to the thing. It was awesome. So, yeah.
That's incredible. I love that. Oh, man. Okay. So that's a great entry point.
Yeah.
That's incredible. And you caught me completely off guard, which makes me even more happy. How was singing your first deal, or was it like
no, I kind of stumbled into singing. I'd played bass mostly because I tried to play guitar and was like, chords were just a little beyond my 12-year-old fingers dexterity. So I started playing bass and played in a band called Frenzy that was like, we were a weird mix of all the band members' influences. So we covered everything from the Sex Pistols, like Holidays in the Sun, to like Wasp, like Blind in Texas, like we do, so, and just we had originals that were hilarious because our singer at the time, he wrote lyrics based off of what he thought sex was through a filter of Kiss lyrics, basically, at 12, 13 years old, you know what I mean?
Yep.
So songs like, just ridiculousness, but awesome. Like it's funny to listen back to it. So I started as a bass player, and then I ended up getting this singing kind of in the classic hardcore kid way, where I was skateboarding with Mike D, who I went on to start Overcast with, who's now in Killswitch Engage.
Yes.
And he was a bass player, and he had riffs. So he's like, "You're a better skateboarder than I am. I already play bass. That means you're the singer." And I was like, "Okay."
Perfect.
So there it was, and that's how I got into singing. So yeah, with that kind of classic hardcore kid, like, you're the cool kid who can mosh and stage dive and skate, but doesn't have any musical talent. So that means you have to by default sing.
Yes, exactly. Just process of elimination.
Really. Exactly. So.
Yeah, and you're in that scene too, like, because like you're like Boston, Massachusetts area, right?
Yes. Yeah. Right. Well, I live in St. Louis now, but I grew up in Boston. So
yeah. So
I'm a masshole through and through.
So you're like, sorry for the hat. So you're there, man, when it's like, Agnostic Front and Gorilla Biscuits and all that stuff too. I mean, that's all in that, because I had buddies that used to go to CBGB Sunday matinees, and, between Boston, New York, Connecticut. Yep. I mean, that's a big scene to be in during like the height of that scene.
Growing up as a teenage kid in the hardcore scene in that era, especially in New England, you could go to shows in, I grew up in Boston, but we would drive to New York. We'd go to New Haven, Connecticut, like at venues like the Tune In and places like that. And you could even get to Philly in another extra hour after New York. So like you got to travel a lot, like, you know, and it was crazy. But growing up in the Boston scene then as a young kid blew my mind, because it was a very eclectic scene too. There was the kind of old guard of, you know, like that was still doing really, you know, sort of tough, like angry stuff. But there was a whole other kind of suburban melodic hardcore, like that got into kind of the more artsy side of hardcore as well. So it was a crazy melting pot of weird sounds to hear as a 14-year-old kid that you're processing, you know, all this stuff. So it was awesome. And it's insane to me how many kids that were in that scene at that time have now still been in bands that are either active or are running labels or doing whatever, that came out of this tiny little group of people. It's mind-blowing to see where it all went. And I think it's because of that sort of eclectic background where all ideas were welcome, as long as it was like, you know, if you were doing it, if you're throwing it down, like it was all good. So definitely was lucky to have kind of stumbled into that world.
I think it was one of the coolest things about hardcore at that time, at least. And I mean, I'm still out in Reno. We had a hardcore scene here, but it was different than what you're describing. Not as positive, that's for sure. It's really violent.
Yeah. Trust me, there was the violence, man. When I was first going to shows, like you go to a Slapshot show at the Channel in Boston, and there's literally dudes dancing with hammers, you know. So like, but thankfully I was that like little kid who was doing flips off of the monitors and stuff. So they're all like, "Oh, this kid's cool, man. He's all right. We'll protect him," you know. So I never had to worry about any of that shit. And I was friends with everyone, so I never got into any beefs or anything like that. Yeah. But the violence was there. There was a time where hardcore was scary, and that was part of the fun, you know, like
you're right.
Legit. So
you're right.
I didn't want to get hit in the face. I will, you know.
Yeah. Well, that's the FSU time too, right? Or is that a little bit later?
That was the beginning of it, but it was way different. That was the old guard of FSU. Yeah. Because you know, I kind of started going to shows in like 1990-ish, you know, and there was some of that going on, but and there was still beef between Boston and New York too. There was still some of that underlying stuff. Which I mean, I couldn't have been further away from that as like, you know, some little kid, but yeah, it was definitely eye opening going from arena rock shows, which I saw every arena show that rolled through, whether, you know, Kiss and Striper and everything, you know, when I was real young, and then started getting into thrash bands and going to see Metallica and, you know, Halloween and Exodus on the Headbangers Ball tour and all that stuff. And
nice.
And then then Mike D was my entry point into like real hardcore shows. And at first it was kind of Boston, and then it was like, you know, VFW shows around the suburbs, and then it was next thing you know, Overcast is playing in like every soup kitchen and basement and, you know, thing along the way. So
yeah, totally.
So
man. In Overcast, like I remember getting it was Of One Blood, I believe. And I was like, oh, whoa, this is different.
Yeah, well, the Of One Blood was the first Shadows Fall record I was on.
Oh, that's right. I'm sorry.
Yeah, the Overcast was either Fight Ambition to Kill or Expectational Dilution would have been one.
That was the one. Yes.
Yeah. No, it's all good. So yeah. But I think it was 35 years ago, man. It's okay not to remember. That's what's insane to me too. It blows my mind how old that shit is. And you know, the thing with Overcast is we definitely were mixing up styles that at first weren't exactly the most welcomed thing to be doing in the hardcore scene. You know, they're like, we'd go on, you know, play with a lot of youth crew bands, and they're like, you know, like, keep your Slayer out of my hardcore, and we're like, nah, man, you know. You know,
just wait, that's coming.
Exactly. So
you know, no, you guys were. It was definitely one of the first things that I heard that felt like it felt metal to me, but like I don't mean that in like a lot of the early, like some of the Victory stuff and things like that. Like it had metal influence, but it didn't feel as honest, I guess.
Yeah,
like some of it felt a little put on. And
well, I think a lot of it was people wanted to get beyond hardcore. And the thing is, we were like, our guitar player was a straight up metal dude. He was the classic. When we were all kind of, I definitely looked the part of like the Posse Youth hardcore kid. He was a mullet dude with a Nuclear Assault shirt on. You know, like awesome. So he was not faking the funk. Like his riffs were metal. But he also loved the fact that we could play these shows, and he loved, you know, like the vibe of the scene. But his roots were really in metal, so his riffs were going to go that way. And so we weren't trying to force styles together. We were writing based on like what we were listening to, you know.
Sure.
So
Right.
and that was at a time where there wasn't an agenda of success. It wasn't like, oh, if we do 2 parts this, 2 parts that, it'll be popular. We're like, no, man, none of this will never be popular in our mind, you know. So
That's the
it's
point.
different now, you know. Exactly. We were trying to like piss people off, you know. So
yeah. Well, and just write music for the joy of doing it, right?
100%. Yeah, exactly.
As it should be. You know, it's funny. We had Wayne from Hatebreed on, and he was talking about how he quit Hatebreed because he's like, well, I can't go on tour or this and that, or I can't do this. I've got to work my job and whatnot and go to school. And then we were laughing. We're like, well, how did that work? You know, because he's but he said what you just said. He's like, I didn't think this would go to where it went to, you know?
Exactly. Like, you know, dude, Wayne is first of all one of the best dudes alive. And it's great to be playing shows with that dude for decades, you know. And I'm so happy he did end up back where he belonged.
Yeah.
But if you ever get his band Youthful Offenders was amazing too. Hilarious stuff from back in the day. Yeah, that was the thing. Going on tour, if you could call it that, meant you like literally went backwards in life, you know, there was the last Overcast tour that basically, I don't want to say ended the band, but was like our last kind of run. It was Overcast, Disembodied, Shai Hulud, and then on parts of it was actually Shadows Fall before I was in the band, and this band Section 8 from Albany. By the end of the tour, every band had broken up except for Shai Hulud, but they only had one member remaining. And I got home and I literally was like, oh my God, like I have to get 2 jobs right now to catch up for what just happened. And we kept a running tally, and it's in, I think it was in one of the reissues of the vinyls we put out. Mike D kept the sheet, and it was every date and then the money we made. And it would be like $38. Then like, ooh, well, a big one in Connecticut, $110. Then there was literally like one that said -8. You know, we're like, how do we lose? You know,
bar tab.
Yeah, totally. You know, like it was just like, it was so like that's where you're living. And I remember like, especially being like a vegetarian kid on the road back then, we were literally like mixing flour with water to make like, you know, like dry bread and shit. You know, like just like, you know, and that was the way it was back then. And playing places where you see the name and it's like, oh, the Barn. You're looking for a club called the Barn. You're like, no, it's a barn. It's just in some dude's backyard. You know.
Perfect.
And then I was like, well, we're playing the Doghouse next. I hope to fucking God that's not an actual doghouse.
That's awesome.
You know, thank God it was a club. It was a club. So,
no,
you know,
well, small favors. That's awesome. So that's kind of how Overcast, basically.
Yeah, you know, we'd been a band for like 7 or 8 years, and at that time, that was a third of my life. You know, I started when I was 15, and went for eight years or so, and it was kind of like, what else are we gonna do here, you know? And it's funny because then we broke up, and it kind of broke off into Shadows Fall and Killswitch Engage, and then within like 5 years, we're on Ozfest. Like, what the hell just happened?
Yeah,
you know?
That's amazing.
Yeah, some things. It worked out okay.
Totally. But we knew, even at the time, we knew Overcast was going to be like a band's band, you know, we're like, we'll probably influence thing, but like we could see just like, we were never that cool band. We never were like the merch band. We were just doing what we did. And every band we played with loved us, you know? So we knew we were doing something right, and it would probably have a lasting impact. It just wasn't going to be some, you know, a living. You couldn't make a living off of it.
Sure.
So, and it all worked out. So,
yeah, it really did. So you replaced Phil.
Yep.
Right. And then we can get to where I heard you guys with.
Yeah. Yes. That was the thing with because Overcast played with Shadows Fall a bunch. We knew all those guys even before Shadows Fall. Like Paul was in a band called Push Button Warfare with like. The drummer who played on Satisfaction as a Death Desire for Hatebreed was in that band, and Matt and John, the guitar players for Shadows Fall, were in a band called Aftershock with Adam D from Killswitch, and it was just, you know, everyone was playing in different bands, so we all knew each other. So when they went to record some new stuff and with Phil, and it just kind of wasn't working out, like stylistically, he wanted to do different stuff, and they were going in a kind of different direction. And Overcast broke up, and it was literally the last Overcast show was in New Haven, Connecticut, at the tune-in, and we walk off stage, feedback still ringing. I'm about to change into a dry shirt, and Matt from Shadows Fall is just like, "Hey man, want to join the band?" I'm like, "Bro, give me 2 seconds to catch my breath here, man." You know. So, and luckily I didn't wait too long because they sent me a demo of what became some of One Blood songs. I think it was like Serenity and First Noble Truth. And I was like, yo, this is what I've been looking for, it had thrash metal elements. It had some of the melodic death metal of like In Flames and At the Gates influences, some Carcass riffs. And I was like, yeah, this is something I'd be into. And then from there, I was in the band for a few weeks before we played our first show. And then we recorded a demo that got assigned to Century Media all within like a couple months. Wow. So it happened fast. Yeah, it happened fast. So, wow. And then by that, that was about December of 98. Mm-hmm. By summer 99, we were on tour, and then we didn't stop for 20 years.
Yeah. Wow. So. That's so okay. So around 98, probably, I think we had played this thing called a November to Dismember out in San Bernardino, and I met the God Forbid guys. And Dallas actually was the one who was turning me on to all, like really on to all, like you guys and Killswitch. And, but I remember thinking, like I said, like you guys, the thrash thing is really real in Shads to me. Yeah. Like,
oh yeah.
And I loved the way that you guys didn't sound like any of the other bands. I mean, production wise, like the guitar tones were like,
without a doubt, we came more from that thrash metal was all of our common ground. Like we all brought different kind of ideas, but thrash metal was like and I used to always say that, like when we were getting called metalcore or this or that, I'd always be on stage. I was like, "What's up? We're Shadows Fall. We're your token thrash metal band for the evening." Like, and it's funny because we did have other elements. There are bands who are legit just doing retro thrash and whatever. Mm-hmm. We brought other elements, but I always thought of us that way because the energy of thrash, the guitar tone, the fact that we were doing solos and weird song structures, like that was the influence there for sure.
I think yeah, go ahead.
Oh no, I was saying we wanted to like bring that to the forefront again because that was, you remember 98, 99, nu metal was at its peak and taking over everything.
Yeah.
And every show we played, if you didn't have a DJ and weren't tuned down and had your Jenkos on, it was weird. So, and here we are with guitar solos and acoustic breaks and like all this shit,
A440 probably on the tune.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah, exactly.
Straight up. Yeah. That was the first thing about Shads. And the second, here comes the smoke machine, but your voice was really like, your approach was so different again. And like, so was Jesse from Killswitch, but yours is really different because the quality of your voice is so like the shouty thing. And then you're never like guttural, like death metal at that time, at least,
Yeah.
But like you had these tones, and then your singing voice was really cool, and you just sounded like a great fucking thrash singer. But then you had these really harsh moments, and since I was fancying myself as a guy who had a lot of voices, I was like, oh shit, listen to this dude.
Well, that was really, that's coming from. I wanted to bring that Chuck Billy sort of approach to like the even if it was semi-melodic, I wanted it to have an attitude. And then my singing will never be the soaring like melodies of like, I wish I could sing like Howard Jones or like those dudes, like, but that's just never was my range. And so I really tried to find my own sort of thing. And a lot of that came from just in the hardcore scene, you sang without worrying about what it was supposed to sound like, there wasn't a formula. It was pure expression. And I've always tried to narrow the gap between inspiration and expression as much as possible, so if the line brought a certain emotion and came from a certain place, I tried to keep it as true to that original idea as I could. And for better or worse, because it definitely wasn't as easily I don't want to say marketable, but we definitely sounded different than like a lot of what was kind of working,
yes.
If that makes sense. But that also it's just the way it comes out, man. Like when you you just gotta let it rip, and what happens,
No,
but it definitely I didn't want to get formulaic with stuff, and the other thing is having such a variety of musical styles. It allowed me to explore all those different textures and voices and stuff like that. So
I want to ask you a question that I like asking singers because, it's everybody thinks they can sing, but like you sing. Like, when did you realize you had a voice? Like, when did you realize, like, hey, you know what? Like, I can do this because, a lot of people will be like, oh, I can sing and whatever. You're like, no, 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 you can't. Like, when did you realize, like, hey, you know what? Like, I can actually do this.
I still feel sometimes like I'm nervous that I can't. I'm not gonna lie. Like we've been in the studio recently, and every time I'm like, shit, what's gonna come out? You know.
Mhm.
But I'll tell the first time I felt like my range was getting better, and this is gonna sound ridiculous, was singing along to this band Into Another in the shower, and I'd be like, if I could hit Richie Birkenhead notes from Into Another, all right, you know what, I'm getting somewhere, and
Jesus.
and it was just the trying to find the confidence in that. I was like, I got something to say and I want to find a way to say it, I guess, is really what it was
Mhm.
about. But I still get like nervous about being able to do what I hear in my head and getting it actually out the way that I want it to. Is I still worry if I can sing, so
Sure,
and
sure.
and now it's what, 40 years later or so,
Yeah.
Yeah,
and
yeah.
35 years later. So
So you're telling me you could hit Richie's notes?
no, well, no, not like when he goes falsetto crazy, but I would sing along to a lot of, especially the Ignorus album.
Yeah.
I'd be in the shower and I'd be singing along, and I'm like, all right, man, you know what? I could, because before I was just yelling. When
Sure.
Overcast first started, we were more Cro-Magsy, Judge,
Mhm.
kind of like hardcore,
Sure.
and then we started getting more metal, and then some of the riffs started demanding more melodic kind of stuff,
Yeah.
Yeah.
and I wanted to try that, and I was super like gun shy, honestly, at first. And it took, I guess, other people being like, not cringing when they heard it. You're like, oh, okay, all right, I guess this will work. But yeah, I would never have felt like, because I was never, I never was classically trained in any way. I did do some vocal lessons, but mostly for like tour maintenance stuff. I wanted to
Hmm.
learn how to like warm up and do things correctly.
Yeah.
But yeah, because it's still to this day, there's some, especially in metal, there are some guys that have these like insane octave ranges where I'm
Hmm.
like, man, I would do anything to be able to sing like that,
Yeah,
Yeah, I
for
uh,
do.
sure. For
but
sure.
I've definitely I've also tried to push myself to like try different things. Um, I had a project called Downpour with some guys from Massachusetts, and those songs definitely pushed my range. And basically how I got there was just like woodshedding it, man. I would be in my car just singing those songs on my commute to work and on my commute back every single day, just trying to get more and more comfortable with it. So
Yeah.
yeah, so I guess the easy answer is I'm still learning if I can
Yes.
sing. I still don't know yet.
Well, I think you can sing, and I
Yeah.
enjoyed
Yeah.
the shit out of your voice. So, I mean, you're doing
Awesome,
something
awesome,
right.
awesome. Well, I'll take
Um,
that compliment from a Yankees fan. It's fine.
Hey, appreciate it. Do I need to turn it around
um,
now?
Yeah, no.
downpour is an only living witness reference, I assume.
Oh, 100%. Yeah,
Ah,
100%. Yes. It was Derek Kurzweil was a drummer for that project, and he was unearthed for a while. And me and him, like, only witness was,
Hmm.
not, we didn't want the band to sound like them, but we're like, that's our common ground when it comes to like, just perfect heavy music. I mean, Only Witness
Yep.
is one of the most underrated bands, and definitely in Boston
Yes.
history, but in heavy music
No,
history, man.
period. Yeah.
Both
yeah,
albums, and I'm so glad they finally got released on vinyl and
Those
sound
reissues are
incredible.
beautiful.
Oh, amazing,
And yeah, I mean,
amazing.
I did the same thing with my old band. That December was a direct
Yeah,
riff.
I was gonna ask. Yeah, if that
Yeah.
was, and like that was one thing with Shadows Fall when we ever did a cover, because we would have to do our
Yep.
contractual, like, we got an EP to do, we need two more songs, let's do a cover.
Yeah.
We only did bands like that we wanted to like shine a light on. We
Hmm.
did, Only Witness. We covered December.
Yep.
We did Leadway, Mark of the Squealer.
Yep.
yeah,
And
yeah.
Teasing, pleasing.
even, and
And
then I
teasing,
would say
pleasing.
Dangerous Toys, man, because
Yeah,
Yeah,
Jason
dude.
dude.
McMaster, the best dude ever.
Yes, he
Because we
is.
just were like, we wanted to like showcase bands that maybe some of the people who were listening to us hadn't heard but should know,
Yeah.
So
Yeah. No, I think witnesses, they're so important. Like
Yeah.
dude,
I
I'm so lucky that I got to see them so many times.
oh
Overcast played with them a ton. I saw them whenever, if we weren't playing at the show, I was at the show. I
yeah.
think my second show I ever went to, they played, and it's funny because I had the Complex Man 7-inch, which I love,
Hmm.
but at that show, I got the Prone Mortal Form demo. And I was like, me and Mike D in the car on the way home, put that thing in, and we're like, everything changes.
Yep.
I was like, everything from this point on is different. And
Yeah.
it slowed Overcast down. We wanted to get riffier. We're like, granted, and I don't want to sing like that, but I'm like, I can't sing like Jonah.
Dude,
you know?
Jonah's voice is just amazing, man.
Amazing. And I'm so glad that not only did those come out, but the Milltown stuff just came out with him singing on it. It's just like Jonah's getting his flowers finally. Thank God.
Dude, and
we had him on.
Yeah, we had him on
and talked about the Milltown album.
Oh,
dude,
it's
that's so good.
It's like so we have this segment where we do where, like, you know, albums that should have been bigger, and that was one of the first ones we did, and he came on the show to talk about it, and it was like so crazy hearing that story, because like when I heard it, I'm like, how was this not enormous in that time?
Totally.
You know?
It's funny because at the time I was living with my roommate was in a band with Matt Squire, who was also in Milltown, and they were working on stuff, and I'm like, this is great, but like, yo, you have a whole album that is one of the greatest things I've ever heard sitting in the can, and he's like, dude, we can't do anything with it.
Yeah,
I was like, oh, but finally seen the light of day.
Yeah, thank you, Tom B.
Yeah,
exactly, dude. Tom B is the unsung hero of these all amazing reissues. He's the one who signed Shadows Fall. He signed Shadows Fall to Century Media, so I owe a lot to Tom B, man. He's an amazing dude.
That's killer. Wow, I just got super derailed. That was fun.
I'm sorry. Yeah, I'm sorry. I am a tangent interview. I apologize in advance.
Don't at all.
To be honest,
we're not interviewers.
There's no outline. There's no questions really.
Conversation.
We're just trying to talk about.
It's like
things.
Three metal dudes hanging out. Essentially our show. Really, it really is.
Good.
Can we talk about that? How was it singing McMaster's stuff for you?
You know, it's funny because we sent him the instrumental version to have him just lay down stuff, and he's like, "What do you want me to sing?" We're like, "We don't know what we're going to use and not use, so just go do the whole thing, go nuts." And then we got it back, and at first I'm like, "Yo, I don't want to sing on this now. Like, this is crazy." And he was the one who was like, "You have to." I was like, "Okay." Yeah. So we were like kind of trading off some stuff, but then the scat part, I'm like, that's all.
That's all.
Like you do it, you do it, man. And it was awesome because like it's funny how that all started. As I was wearing Dangerous Toys shirts on stage in some of the early Shadows Fall shows, and he got wind of it and was like, "Dude, that rules." And I'm like, "No, you guys rule." Like I got to see them on Operation Rock and Roll, like Motorhead on that tour, you know. So I always loved Dangerous Toys. So doing that was killer. And then when we played Austin, it was, man, it might have been the Take Action tour. It was, I know it was like us and like As It Lay Dying, and I think Poison the Well, and a bunch of like bands from that kind of world. And what do? We bring up Jason McMasters and play Teasin' and Pleasin'.
It's so awesome.
And
right.
So it's a packed place, and there's like 400 confused younger like hardcore-ish kids, and then like 30 drunk dudes at the bar, so stoked, like just like going nuts. And it was the best. It was so awesome, and he's remained a friend since. And man, he's such a great dude. So
he
really is. Yeah, I took vocal lessons from him for a while.
Oh no way, that's awesome.
Yeah,
man. That dude's got a range.
He really does, and he's 60, and he can still like do that Watchtower shit.
That's what's crazy, and that's what people don't realize too. It's like that guy came out of Watchtower, man. Like that was a game-changing band, you know.
Seriously, that was mind melting. And he's got 9 million bands.
Totally. They're
always
doing something. Yeah, exactly. And then when he's not doing his band, some band will be like, "Hey, our singer's sick. Can you fill in?" He's like, "Of course I can."
Yeah, he's like, "Oh, sure, accept and
totally.
Saint.
Saint. Yeah, sure, I can do this. You know, why not?
I guess I'll fill in for John Bush.
It's so crazy. So awesome.
It's bananas. Okay, so singing wise, I have a question, because
sure.
When you're writing, do you think about like the structure of the song and the riff, or do you kind of try to carve your own path through it?
You know, I usually, what happens is I do write a ton of lyrics that'll maybe just be sitting around, but a lot of times I get the raw version of the first kind of like demo version of the song, and I just start listening and just start singing along. And sometimes it's either just syllable noises or it's other lyrics like that, you know, could be like, you know, a Bob Marley song, or just lyrically just like a placeholder. And my main thing is, especially in the metal world, I try not to just follow the kick drum. because that's
Yes.
became, especially in death metal, that's such a thing,
Oh yeah.
like, to stay right on that. So I always want to kind of duck and dodge. And I think a
Mhm.
lot of that is only a Witness influence. It's a
Mm.
Jonah influence. He
Yes.
floats around the riff in a way that's not conventional,
Yep.
which is also maybe why they didn't kind of get that crossover appeal, because it's not, traditional big chorus.
Yeah,
It's
that's true.
challenge. It's challenging to the ear. It takes a
Yeah.
little thought to like process. And I've always tried to kind of do that and keep it interesting. I can fall into the habit of trying to force a pattern, which
Mm.
I've tried to break. Where if it works, the first line, then I'll try and fit syllables to that, and I've tried to get out of that and be
Sure.
like, I got to remember like the lyrics and the way you express it can ebb and flow and get different.
Mhm.
So it's really, that's something I've tried to break out of that habit of.
Yeah.
I don't want to get typewritery and have everything the same.
Yep.
But I definitely, the vocal lines are inspired by the riffs almost 99% of the times. Occasionally I'll have a melody
Hmm.
and I'll find a riff that it works to, but that's pretty rare.
Okay.
And yeah, but yeah, it's crazy. I With this new Shadows Fall stuff, I was pretty nervous at the beginning. I'm like, man, we haven't wrote in a while, and I've now written I don't know how many records. I was like, is there anything left in the well? I was a little nervous, and you don't want to keep pulling from the same ideas too. Thankfully, uh, it had been enough time where all these ideas had built up. Thankfully, also the world's basically on fire, so
Yeah.
that's
Yeah.
inspiring lyrically.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So there was a lot of ideas started flowing, and I've also gotten out of the idea that there's any agenda based to it, because when we were a full-time band and we're on especially when we're on a major label for a little while, you feel a pressure to like, all right, man, I got to write something that just is gonna have a lasting impact,
Yeah.
or get us like a single or whatever. All those obstacles are gone, and that's
Yep.
a very liberating feeling. So this writing time, I was literally like, if I got an idea, I'm at least going to try it and see where it goes and push
Hmm.
it as far as I can, because there's no worries, man. It's just like we're just making a record because we want to make a record. I
Yeah.
mean, the label may want to hear that exactly in those terms, but we're writing for ourselves,
Yeah.
and it's been awesome. It's been very cathartic. It's been very stress relieving. It's been a very positive experience, this writing. There wasn't a lot of nervousness with this record. Once I got into the groove, once I kind of realized like, all right, I got ideas. I got, and also I was like, shit, can I still sing? Like, and the voice was still coming back. So I was like, all right. And it was this has been a very pleasant writing experience for the new Shadows Fall stuff. So
That's
whereas sometimes it would be tougher. You're on a schedule, you
sure.
got label demands, it's your
Yep.
full-time job, which is literally what I wrote the song Inspiration on Demand about on
Hmm.
the War Within record, because we came off of the road. Art of Balance did way better than anyone expected, and now they're like, okay, man, beat it. Like you
Yeah.
gotta, the next one's gotta be better, and you're like, shit. I was like, so
Yeah.
I wrote that song about writing, what it's like to have to write a song. So, so,
Yeah.
but this time around, it's been way different. We've had a lot more time to really just make things as good as we can, and really refine these things very well. So,
Yeah. There's a couple things that popped into my head. One was you were talking about the way Jonah weaves around. I think one of the craziest things about him is how little lyrics he writes.
totally.
Like there's like one line and that's the entire verse.
And
For
I'm the exact opposite. I have such a problem.
same.
I was a literature major, and like so
Ah,
everything I get grammatically stuck in my head, which is so stupid. It's a song, man. It doesn't have the sentence structure doesn't have to be perfect. I'm like, yes, it does.
yeah.
Or
Of course
like,
it does.
or I can't just say something simply, and I'm like, yeah, you can.
Mm,
Like, everything
yeah.
doesn't have to be some like, you know, T.S. Eliot style, like alliteration and shit. It's like you can just write some stuff that just comes from the heart. And
Yeah.
Jonah, I think, he was incredibly intelligent and so well read that those influences came out without him trying.
Yep.
So that would be a great thing to have. So
I've been trying it because my band we're writing, and so I've been purposefully like just write one line and see how many ways I can use it. And it's really fucking hard.
Yeah, totally.
So like I'm already like, we got to rewrite that whole verse and just do just blah 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 the whole time.
Well, think of how many things have been said too. That's, occasionally I'm like, oh, that's kind of a cool thought, and then I'm like, yeah, it's because I stole it from this, and I'm like, oh shit, I can't use that, like.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, look, man, there's nothing new under the sun, and we all steal from each other.
100%, 100%.
Artists are all thieves above everything.
Whether you know it or you don't, right? I mean, there's times where it's just subconscious. You write some badass riff, and then you realize, like, oh shit, like.
Dude, I got a great story about that. There was an Overcast song that we were practicing for like a while, and then finally our guitar player who wrote the main riff came and he was like, "Guys, we can't use this." I'm like, "What are you talking about? The song rules." He's like, "No, it's like this riff off of Megadeth's first album," and it was like, and then he plays it. We're like, "Holy shit, that's the exact."
Yeah.
Yep.
And we're like, "All right, delete." Like,
yeah.
Never mind.
Yeah.
Because it's one thing to be like, oh, there's even some of our working titles will be based on what the song kind of sounds like, and that's and that's going to always happen. But you can't just boost a riff.
Well, there's a line.
Yeah, exactly. I feel bad for bands that only do breakdowns because I'm like, how many fucking breakdowns are left? I was, like you can only chug so many ways. Sepultura did half of them on KSAD as it was.
Sepultura did everything better than everybody. Yeah. So, have you seen that? There's like that Instagram thing where the dudes will play barcodes.
Oh, dude, it's amazing. Amazing. Does it riff? Does it riff?
Yeah. It riff?
It's so great.
That's really smart. Okay.
Yeah.
So to answer the other thing that popped into my head while you were going through is like, so I've been listening to the new singles.
Yes.
We
talked about it too. Me and him were talking about it before we hit the record button. Jesus Christ.
Souls Devoured is like fucking good, dude.
Oh, thank you, man. Thank you. To me,
they're all good. Like they're both good. But like,
In the Gray was kind of like we wanted to come in and just like we're back. Like here's just a thrash tune, unrelenting. Like let's go.
Yep.
Souls Devoured is kind of like here's everything we've done over 20 years, all crammed into one song, and like the intro riff is like kind of almost Southern rocky groove, like crowbarish. And then it goes into like a black metal, like verse,
Well, and the voice is doing some things.
And it's funny because that came out of like with Hell Night, we were way more raw and I started screaming in a like kind of almost disrupt grindcore-y way, and so when we started recording, that voice was already kind of in the quiver, and that riff just demanded it. And I remember Zeus, who we've worked with since day one, was just like, "The fuck is that guy?" He's like, "Where?" he's like, "Where did the Angry Witch come from?" I'm like, "Oh, it's in there." He's like, "Awesome." He's like, "Let's go with it." So definitely brought some of that. And then,
it surprised me in the best way possible, because I've been listening to you guys for a long time, and I felt like In the Gray sounded like great modern Shadows Fall, and I mean that with all the love in my heart. Souls Devoured was like, wait,
yeah.
Well, dude, wait till you hear the 8 other tunes, because it is a fucking roller coaster ride. It's we did everything we've ever done plus more, and then also just filtered through, years of experience as well. So we're very excited about it. And I think it's funny because it doesn't sound like anything else is kind of happening right now, which is cool too. Because honestly, we always sort of had our own little weird lane as it is, and we wanted to keep it that way.
So let's mine that a little bit. You said label. What?
Yep.
Who?
We're Heavy Monarch. Monarch Records.
Oh
yeah. We signed a great deal with them because they kind of knew where we're at. That we're. Mm-hmm. Not kind of going to be a full-time touring band but we got at least enough of a legacy that they were comfortable putting out the record. And they did the classic, like, dude, just take your time, make the best record you can. And then like 2 years later, like, okay, well, not that much fucking time, like, like, let's go. Perfect. So so we are trying to wrap it up. We've got more work to do. I don't know. We don't really have any sort of release dates or even, any of that in mind. But the recording's going well. We're just kind of chipping away at it. I'm away from the guys, and honestly, John's on tour. He's in Japan with Anthrax as we speak, right? So he's busy. Jason's always doing something as well. So, but we've been really happy about how it's coming out, and they've been really supportive of just, us trying to make it as good as we can. And it's nice that things aren't as traditional the way they used to be, where it was, drop an album, tour cycle, drop an album, tour cycle. You can do things different ways. Even being able to drop the 2 singles way before the record's going to come out. It's just such a different world, and I love that. And with people's attention spans where they are, you got to give them little morsels as it is.
Man, that's such a great point, dude, because it's so different. And I applaud you guys for doing 10 songs. I love that. Like, we're old school guys, man. Like, you get the tape. I say tape, right? It was like,
exactly.
Eight
Side
songs.
A and B.
8 songs, 9 songs, right? And it's like a lot of that's because you didn't have enough space. But I think when the space and the pressure was there with the CDs, it's like 14 songs, 15 songs. I mean, like, you're really going to write 15 bangers in,
exactly, dude. It's going to, focus where it is. And that's what's even cooler about even the deal. We signed more for like this many songs because we didn't know if we're going to release it as EPs or if we're going to do whatever. And like, that's such a cool kind of world now, is you can do that. There's so many platforms you can immediately put things out on. And physical format, it's basically going to be vinyl, like, like that's the way to go these days as it is. So it's just a different world. So we figured let's focus on these tunes and making the best we can. And then if there's stuff left over for later, then we'll work on that down the road,
Cool. So, that's great. So you're still in process though.
Yeah, we're still tracking. We're still tracking to be done. Yep, totally. Cool. So we're getting there. It's there's a lot of it's done, but there's and at some point we will have to put the line, next thing you know, we're trying to do like Queen style, like 30-part harmonies and shit, just because we don't have a deadline. But but we at some point we gotta end it. But we're in a great place right now and trying to fit it in when we can, and really, it's also nice to be able to record stuff, go home, listen, really digest it, live with it for a minute, or get away from it for a minute and then come back to it. It's which has been nice, because when we were on the hamster wheel for years, it was that like we toured like 8 to 10 months out of the year. We were maniacs, so you'd get home and you're like, shit, I don't even have time to relax. We're going right in the studio, so it's been nice to kind of be able to approach this one different. And it's been so long since we put out new music that we're like, well, if we're going to do it, let's do it right,
Yeah. Well, it sounds like you are. I mean,
well, thank you.
I'm seriously, like I said, I've been moving my way through your catalog for like the last week or so, and then fuck, that Souls Devoured song kills me. It's awesome. So good.
Well, I
was like, just take my money. That's great. Like, I'm sold.
We will.
Yeah, please, let me know.
I'll put my Venmo in the house
right away.
Well, I think what's cool about that too is, there was always that thing where, bands would get older and then, no one wanted to hear the new stuff, or the bands just weren't writing. And it's like, I think we've seen lately a lot that, man, people are like, that new Corner record's killer.
The new Corner record, holy shit,
it's insane. Like we
were listening to that in the studio about a week ago. Holy shit, dude, it's so good.
The last Judas Priest record was great. I mean, there's like, it's showing people like, hey man, like you can still put out quality shit. If you want, really,
and for the live show, you're gonna play the hits, but like at least sneak in some new stuff and some new energy and bring it around. It's why we're musicians. Like it's you the creative part of it is what brought you into it. Yeah. So to totally take that out, and then I also get why some bands like, I don't know if I want to hear a Youth of Today song written by 60-year-old dudes. You know what I mean? But I still want to go see Youth of Today play the songs from 1988.
Sure.
Like that's a little that is a little different. Like I get that, like that would be hard to do that far removed.
Sure.
But if you've been an active band, for a while and you still have new ideas, like share them, man, share them.
Yeah. If there's gas in the tank, why not?
Yeah,
exactly.
And it's so easy to share now.
Yeah.
That is such a difference. And even studios aren't with, like, what's just happened here?
Oh, we lost you for like 2 seconds. You're fine.
Okay. All right. So yeah, it's just like if you have it there to do it, it's like you might as well make the most of the time. So it's like this is why we do it. So
Yeah. And you don't have to pay for tape anymore. Everything's digital. It's just easy. It's great.
No, totally. And you can exchange ideas from, like they're like just recently I was like, oh, here's the gang vocal list. And like, so if you got a crew of dudes there, just get it done. Like, like I don't need to be physically there and stuff like that. It's such a different world. But yeah, because before, like studio budgets were so crazy way back. I can't even imagine how the pressure that there was. Because even by the time we were doing stuff, like it wasn't as bad, but it still was expensive. The only time we had a crazy budget was like the Atlantic Records
I was
deal
going to ask.
where we were recording at Dave Grohl. Yeah, we were recording at Dave Grohl studio. Just had it was insane. It was insane, and that was awesome. But you can also get lost in the sauce on that stuff too, where it's like they would give us a video budget. We're like, well, we can make like 10 videos for that. They're like, no, it has to be allocated for one. We're like, well, then shit, we're getting a crane. We're gonna, like we're gonna go on the rooftop of some building in LA. We're gonna get crazy with it. It's like, all right, but it was silly to us, as a DIY kind of band. We were like, you could, save money, but it was cool to experience. But I'm glad it's so much more accessible now, and people can just create and then immediately share it with the world. It's got to be. If I was as younger bands, that's got to be such a liberating thing, because when we first came, the idea of getting into a studio was such a like lofty goal, and then the ones we could afford were shot, so it's such a different world now. It's got to be great, so
that's killer.
Well, the pressure too, right? You know what I mean? Like the pressure to be recording when you realize how much money you're paying an hour.
Dude, the meter's running, like always. And you know how much that's costing, and it's definitely a different level of pressure. Now granted, there's good and bad sides of that too, because now it's easy to put out anything, and it's also real easy to fake it nowadays. So there is that. Whereas before, you listen to these bands from the 70s, you had to be so good because they're like, we're not spending hundreds of thousands of dollars for you to come in here and waste our time.
Right.
So you got to go in and just kill it. So the musicianship level was like just crazy. Well, so there's give and take with it, but for for people to be able to express themselves, record it, release it, that's just an awesome thing. So
and the other thing about that too is that I don't think a lot of people understand, like the non-musicians that listen to the show, is everything you're talking about, we're all talking about in this conversation, that's all putting you in the red. The video's putting you in the red. The recording's putting you in the red. And then the label needs to get paid off before you even see anything. So then you're on the road, that costs money. It's just like this cycle. And nowadays, if you can do stuff in a home studio or you don't have to worry about a budget, like you're not so far back trying to chase, you know what I mean?
The word recoup was the evilest word in the music industry, man. Yes. It's like, and people don't realize that. But yeah, that's a huge difference, especially. And if you can create it yourself, you own it too. That's the other thing. People don't realize a lot of times when you sign a deal, you're giving away the masters, or the ownership doesn't revert to you for like 20 years or something, and that's such a different thing now. It's changed everything. The only thing now is touring is so expensive.
I can't even imagine either. Oh my god!
Because what's weird is everything's gotten more expensive, but the 2 slot on a tour is still the same money.
Yeah,
of course. So how are you survive? I don't know how bands are doing that these days, but maybe they save so much money recording at home that they can put it in the gas tank.
Yeah, the bedroom laptop studio, but like Jesus, just filling a tank on a bandwagon right now.
Yeah, totally, dude. Hitting the roads, cokes, and you see stuff. Even bigger bands, they're like, our European tour is 80% sold out. We can't afford to go.
It's nuts.
It's crazy, man.
Dude, you got to be a good t-shirt salesman.
Exactly. Dude, you're just slinging cloth, man. That's all you're doing on the road,
Slinging cloth. That's amazing.
Yeah.
I like that. Cool, man. Well, this was awesome. Kept you for about an hour.
Indeed.
I could probably do it for forever, but we're reasonable people. We don't do 3-hour shows.
Yeah, you got to reel me in. I'll just keep babbling.
No, brother, it's been a blast.
Awesome, man. Awesome.
Seriously, thank you so much for coming on.
No, man, thanks for having me, and just thanks for helping spread the word. Dude, we're not back full time, but we're making new music. We're gonna definitely play shows at least a couple times a year and do some festivals. Cool. So we're just stoked to be still at this point in our lives is still able to get up on stage and scream at people and occasionally jump on their heads when my old back still allows.
I think it's important I think having a band like you guys still around and still putting out stuff at, from what I can hear, a very high level, that's important.
Yeah.
Like,
Awesome.
and it feels good to old dudes like me because I'm older than you are. So, um,
Awesome.
it's just been a pleasure, man. You got
Indeed, man.
anything, sir?
Yeah, I just wanted to say I got in a little bit later. I got in with The War Within, and I just want to say, and you could pass it on to both guitar players. It was so nice hearing guitar solos again. You know, being a guitar player, as you can see the guitars behind me. You
Yeah.
know, that was a legitimate, real thing where you got made fun of for playing guitar solos, and they just disappeared out of the ether. And it was nice to hear. It was refreshing to when I
Mm-hmm.
heard you guys.
Well,
That was refreshing.
Well, good, because that was honestly that was a big part of what we wanted to accomplish. Because and John is such an amazing lead guitar player. We're like,
Dude.
why would we tell you not to do this? You know,
Yeah.
like it's crazy. And I'm so happy that he's kind of been able to just be in Anthrax and spread and just share his talents and all that. Because I remember he was that classic like 16, 17-year-old kid in the scene where we're all like, what the fuck is that? Like, how is he
Yeah.
doing? And so, yeah, we had to showcase that. And I'm glad guitar is back too. Like
Me
it's
too.
back. But when we first came out, like you said, man, guitar solos
Yeah.
were a dirty word,
Dude,
dirty word.
it
So,
was. Can I ask you this real quick? Because
mhm.
you said something, and I was curious about this because you guys were all thrash dudes, and like he gets that gig in Anthrax, which is pretty awesome. Um, how is he like? Like, how is he feeling about that gig in terms of like dream come true type of thing? Like,
one
you
thousand
know,
percent dream come true. He like it's because he's an 80s metal dude, but thrash metal dude. But
yeah,
Anthrax was like that, he had the posters on the wall. Like that was the fact that
surreal,
he
right?
got that gig was, crazy. And the fact that he's also now been in Anthrax all like for a decade plus now is
Yeah.
crazy too. So
Yeah.
And I thought
yeah,
it was a
he's
good
he
choice too. I thought it was a really good choice
Mhm.
for Anthrax.
yeah, it worked out super well. Like, and it's funny because like he gets to be the young guy in that band when like even though he feels older now, then he looks across the way and he's like, oh well, not that old.
Yeah, he sees Joe. He sees Joey, and I'm like, I'm
Yeah,
good.
totally. It's so great. But
That's
yeah, man, and he's killing it with those dudes, so it's awesome. So
Yeah, well, we'll pass it on that we're both big fans of his guitar playing, and
Yes.
I mean just the band in
awesome.
general. Honestly, it was a pleasure to talk to you today, man, and just have
Yeah.
a really cool conversation. And this is what we love about our show is we're just musicians talking to musicians that we respect, and just getting to learn more, and hopefully get people to listen to more music. That's kind of the whole goal of the
Mhm.
show. So
That's what it's all about, man.
I hope our listeners go through the catalog and find a bunch of great shit, especially listeners. The new shit, those two singles, man, holy crap. Like
Yeah.
Hell yeah.
if you're bringing the fire on those next 8 tunes with that on top of that, which I know you're going to,
Can't wait.
that's gonna be a great record, man.
Yeah.
That's the plan. And dude, you better be ready to hear some guitar playing, man.
Oh, I can't wait.
Because with Anthrax, he just gets to do the leads and stuff like that. With this, he just got to do whatever the hell he wanted. We were like, dude, you're unleashed.
Just go.
Like, just go.
Cool.
Wow.
That's awesome. And I know you said what you said earlier in the conversation. Any chance of 2026 being the release date, or you're looking maybe
No idea.
2027? Okay.
No idea.
Yeah.
Yeah, that would be great. I would love for it to be done, but we shall see. No idea yet. So
Sure.
Cool. That's
Awesome.
okay. That's
Well,
okay.
yeah, it absolutely isn't, man. Brian, thanks for your time, dude. It's
Yeah.
Oh no, man! Thanks for spreading the word, and yeah,
Of
man,
course.
it's awesome, man. Just letting people know about the tunes. That's what it's all about.
You got
awesome.
it.
Awesome, brother. Have yourself a wonderful night, my friend.
You as well, man. Take care.
It's a conversation like that mixtapes brings you. That I mean, it's just three metal dudes just fucking hanging out, man. Like,
Yeah.
how can you go wrong with that type of a conversation? You know?
I don't think you do. Brian was just like, he's the real thing.
Yes.
He's just a genuine guy, and he's just like the people who listen to him.
Yeah.
Just-
100%.
we're all music fans. And God, he was cool as shit.
He was. Dude, look, if you're not a music fan, you're not doing it for the right reason,
Totally.
in my
Yes.
opinion. And it's like, with us, we've been very lucky, and I have a lot of gratitude on every guest we've had. Has just been awesome. They've just
Absolutely.
been so cool, and like, because I think they understand, like, they're talking to two other musicians
Mhm.
that have done touring stuff and done things that they understand, and we can have those relatable conversations, and it's not the plug and play 30-minute interview that they have to
Yep.
do 10 of in one day.
Yeah, no, I think, and even if it's not the musician thing, which I think does help, it's like we're just having a conversation like if we were hanging out at a house party or at
Yep.
sound check at a show or
Yeah.
at, at the bar whatever. It's like I find it really interesting to hear the stories of these people's lives and journeys and how much they love music and where they're coming from.
And
And
I
that's
feel
all I want to do,
and I
you
feel
know?
like you guys do too that are listening,
Yeah.
I mean, way to drop Leeway. That was
Dude,
fucking
fucking
cool. That was a
Leeway.
nice
Oh,
drop. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah. Well, and on that run of covers where that's the only living witness cover, Leeway, and then Dangerous Toys. I was actually going to bring up the Leeway cover because that band does not get talked about enough, and
no. Hey,
fucking incredible
on
band.
Tubi, they've got a Leeway documentary.
Really,
Yes.
I'm going to watch that.
I'm telling you right now, we need to get sponsored by Tubi with the amount of fucking
Dude,
stuff I
tell you
talk about
what.
with Tubi on this damn show.
Yep.
Tubi, get at
Tubi
us.
Tubi is a treasure trove of music and horror for me.
Yes,
Like,
get at us so I don't have to
yeah,
watch any more
come on over.
commercials.
Yes, please. I'll fly the logo right across the screen.
Absolutely, but I will tell you this honestly, folks. Like, if you do like music documentaries, and I honestly, if you're here, I don't know how you wouldn't. Um, there's a lot of them, and most of them are
Yep.
really damn good. You can tell
Yep.
the ones that aren't going to be good within 2 minutes, but they have a lot of quality ones.
Yeah.
I've been watching one or two a night lately, after work and after podcasting, and it's just
Hmm.
been so cool to like
Did you
learn
watch that
stuff.
Killing Joke one yet?
No, not yet. I do
Dude, you
not.
got to watch the
It's
Killing.
on the list.
Everybody has to watch that.
What
It's
one you know what one I watched?
mm,
Did you watch the Dave Navarro one?
no.
Holy shit.
Okay.
It's the Dave. Do you know Dave Navarro's backstory?
No.
Okay. Dave Navarro's mom and aunt were murdered
Oh,
by her ex-boyfriend when Dave was 15, and Dave went to his dad's house and didn't normally go like that day. His dad had certain days he had him, and if he doesn't go, Dave's probably dead too.
wow.
They don't catch the guy for like 8 years. And you know how they fucking catch him?
No.
Good old John Walsh, America's Most Wanted.
Really?
He was on America's Most Wanted, dude.
No shit.
And he spiraled. He said, my life changed the day my mom was murdered. My aunt was murdered.
Yeah.
And
Well, yeah.
it's dark,
Okay.
but it's also like I mean, dude, it's really interesting, and like
Hmm.
you get this different side of Dave that's kind of cool. Like this,
Okay.
it's pretty neat. Like you see that he does a lot of stuff for um, domestic violence and stuff
Hmm.
like that, and he's but dude, it's pretty heavy. It's very
Huh.
artistic in like a like NC-17 rated X. So,
Sure.
I mean,
Sure.
I was surprised this thing even got made.
Well, I mean, he does like to live moss.
He,
So
dude,
it's for all you Ink Master people.
he's it was very interesting. Like
Okay.
the very end of the movie is a fucking trip.
Nice.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah. So it's I don't know if you'll get through it. To be
Yeah, I
honest
don't
with
know.
you,
We'll see.
it was like I was tough getting through at the end, but like he cuts his forehead at the end and
Okay.
bleeds into a cup, and then this girl paints his mom with his blood.
Okay.
That's why I was saying it's like pretty fucking like
Interesting.
I remember just being like, "What?"
All right.
Yeah,
Um, yeah.
it's pretty interesting. But like Tubi, I'm totally
Tubi.
getting
Yeah.
off track, but like whatever. Tubi's a great place to watch documentaries. You can see
It
a
is.
lot of really good ones, and
Yep.
you can also hear a lot of great stories from our
Yep.
podcast that we got going on, and we appreciate all of you guys. We said in the beginning of the episode, we'll say at the end for the people who are still listening, thank you so much for like being a part of the message group,
Hmm.
yeah, on Facebook, and our new Instagram followers and stuff like that. We're just building it up. You know what I mean? Like we're not big social media fans, so we're not as on the ball as we can be. I'd rather
Yeah.
just deliver you the good stories, and if you find us, you find us, and work towards trying to get more people to find us. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? Like I don't want to do stupid shit like people do to drive the algorithms and attention. We're not those dudes.
No, I think I like, yes, there is more we could do, and we're working on it slowly but surely. And old dogs are learning new tricks, and that's cool. But I like that things have been going great, and we appreciate everybody who is finding us and sticking around and listening. And it's been organic and real, and that's kind of what the whole point of the show is.
Dude,
So,
that's exactly what I was gonna say. Like, you're not gonna get any bullshit fabricated garbage from us. Like,
no,
if we post something, it's gonna be real. We're not.
mhm.
That's just what we're doing. So,
Yep.
I mean, other than that fucking awesome conversation we just had with Brian, and like, honestly, like, folks, I'm not lying. We're not shilling shit. The new songs are fucking cool. Like, they
Yep.
really are. Like, go back and listen to these two new songs. Like,
Over and over and
oh
over.
my God, dude. Like, as a guitar player, I'm so humbled. Like there's
I
some amazing guitar playing on that. Brian is just,
He's on another level
dude.
now. He really
Yeah,
is. It was interesting to me, and I understand when he was talking about he wondered if he could still do stuff or whatever.
sure.
Because I, as a singer, I totally get that. I really do. But his voice on these new songs
Dude,
is so good. I think he sounds as good, if not better, than he ever has.
they sound
Um,
so pissed.
Dude, it's just,
like
I love it.
it's like they're it's like and he kind of alluded to that of like, hey, we're back type of thing.
Mhm.
I got that vibe before even talking to him when I was listening to his songs. I'm like, oh, these guys are fucking hungry.
No, they're coming out swinging.
Yeah, oh, easily, and they're knocking
Um,
people down. I mean, it's
and yeah, it's as much as I thought Shadows Fall was different and sort of a breath of fresh air, like I talked about in the interview conversation. They are again, because this stuff, it doesn't sound like an old band coming back. It sounds like this is exactly what Shadows Fall should be right now.
100%, dude. And like we talked about in the conversation, bands are still doing it. They're still putting out good records. Like
Yep.
if you're a band and like you say you got gas in the tank, might as well create.
Yep.
We're
And
only
boy,
we're
are
only
they.
here one time, man, and they
That's
are
it.
for sure. So, anything
Yeah.
you want to add
No,
before we get out of here, amigo?
my biggest thing really is, yeah, listen to those new, I mean, listen to all the Shadows Fall stuff. It's fucking great. And go listen to that, the Tease and Please and Leeway cover and the Only Living Witness cover too. But holy shit, the new Shadows Fall singles.
Yeah, man, it's definitely worth it, ladies and gentlemen. Like I always like to say at the end of every show, be good to yourselves, be good to others, especially in these times and days. And get a hold of a friend, whether it's text or pick up a phone and say, "Hey, how you doing?" And I found a brand new podcast that I think you should learn about called Mixtapes. We'll talk to you guys soon.